start this meeting. Join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Kurtz,
Here.
Hill,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Lenius,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Grover's absent, O'Laughlin.
Yes.
Okay. Next is a motion to approve the agenda, and I think you have a change you wanted in that, Al?
Under the new business, we'll be asking you to table the easement discussion.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the agenda minus that one item.
Why are we tabling it?
The property owner asked for more time.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Motion by Kurtz,
Second?
second by Hill. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Under our public forum, this is a time set aside for visitors and public comments only on topics of city business other than those listed on tonight's agenda. Please understand the council cannot take any action on your comments at this meeting due to requirements of the open meetings law, but may do so at a future meeting. Each speaker will be allowed a maximum of 5 minutes to state their comments, and we thank you for your cooperation. First one I have on the agenda is Julie Clammer. If you come forward, please. State your name and address, please.
Julie Clammer, 511 Second Avenue Northeast. I actually first wanted to go over the water line warranty that you guys had kind of put out. I believe it was about 2 weeks after I signed and sent mine in, my water main broke. So I just wanted to say it is a very good program. Very next day, one call was out, marked everything. The next day, the excavator was out, dug. By that afternoon, it was covered up. We had a little issue with trying to get a concrete guy out. I guess they were out of town for a couple weeks, working out of town. We finally got them to get the sidewalk put in before the 4th of July. But overall, the only thing I wish that I had seen, more local people. The closest one that they could find at that time, and it may just be that the program is so new that they don't have a lot of people signed up yet, was from Marshalltown. So if we maybe encourage more of our local people, maybe plumbers, backhoe licensed people get involved with the program, but I had no problem whatsoever. So thank you for putting something out there for some of us.
And they paid your bill, Julie?
I have seen nothing yet. So, and it's probably pretty close, about $3,000, and mine was probably the sidewalk and 10 feet back of excavation and pipe, so it'll be up there a little bit. Secondly, some of us actually would like to thank the city for giving us a nice 4th of July, putting on wonderful fireworks, except there were a few people in our neighborhood that pushed the fireworks ordinance a little bit far, and I think some of us aren't against fireworks, we're against the ones that don't go by the rules. And it wasn't necessarily neighbors, it was law enforcement that we didn't really feel was giving us the right direction. I know 4th of July, I believe I saw you on the news where you were saying it was a two block radius around the park, but yet the police said we couldn't set fireworks off, but the people across the street could. I don't know if I can, this is some of the stuff that was flying through the air. I know most of you guys know my house is being remodeled. Because of the wall thickness, I have special ordered windows. Not one of those windows is less than $600, and I've got 30 of them. Now, when I see stuff like that in my yard, and there's no liability insurance on anybody that's shooting fireworks off, when we have stuff like this in our front yard, backyard, none of us on our block were allowed to shoot fireworks off. There were people setting these on the ground and just lighting them, not sticking them in, and the whole stick and everything's going through the air. Now, when you consider this or anything like that, when there's people in the park, on the sidewalk, driving down the street, walking down the street, when you've got missiles like this going through the air, I think the ordinance needs to maybe be rethought. Is this really a good idea for any of us? Because I know if that had gone through my window and it wasn't against the law, it would have been on my insurance. Not my neighbors that are renters, but me. But it's this kind of stuff that we sat for 2-3 days and watched fly through the air. And I'll tell you, if one of my windows and any of my roof had caught on fire because of this kind of stuff, it would have been on me. And I don't feel that that's the way that this ordinance needs to be going. I mean, if the city really, truly wants to stick with fireworks, then I think there needs to be a permit process with proof of liability insurance or something. Because if somebody has the right to blow this off and blow this, and they're going to be responsible for repairing and probably replacing some of the homes in this town. So my only thought is please reconsider your votes, because our neighborhood didn't see it work. So,
Thank you.
I would just like to make one comment.
No.
And- yeah, No, I want to make a
No,
comment.
I'm serious.
I want to make a comment to the public.
Open meetings.
I know, but I just would like, I would like for other people, or you to tell other people. I think it's very important for people to come and tell us stuff like you just have. And I would encourage other people to do that. And I'd encourage you to,
well, there's a lot of people in our neighborhood that would, but some of them said that they couldn't find the right language
okay,
to sit here.
okay.
I
I
think
appreciate it.
Too many colorful
we're going to have to look
metaphors.
at seeing about putting this on the agenda, and at that time, you can come out and then speak, and we can have a communication.
Okay,
at that
thank
point.
you.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is Vicki Pilcher. Please give your name and address.
Hi, my name is Vicki Pilcher, 601 Fifth Avenue Northwest, and I've lived in this town for 44 years. This is the first time I've ever felt the need to come talk to you guys. And I want to talk about the fireworks from a whole different angle than Julie talked about it. Those weeks of bombardment is way too much for people. There are people that have PSTD. There are people that have anxiety disorders, sleep disorders, the elderly, little kids. It bothers them. It bothers them a lot. It bothers me. There's pets that don't understand. Our little dog shook for 5 hours one night, and I had to take him out of town. I had to send him out of town so he wouldn't get traumatized and get sick. I heard another lady tell me about their dog that was an outside dog and got frightened, tried to jump over the fence and got a 4-inch gash, 15 stitches, and a $150 vet bill. And I've heard from lots of people with pet horror stories. It's just too much. If people can know it's going to be this weekend or this couple of days or whatever and plan for it, that's one thing. But for weeks at a time, from 7, the first one I would hear is like 7 o'clock in the morning to clear till 1:30 at night. And believe me, I knew, because I was laying there hoping it would quiet down so I could go to sleep. And then I'd be almost asleep, and then boom, 1 o'clock in the morning, boom, 1:30 in the morning. And I understand it was supposed to stop at 10 or 11. I wasn't ever sure what the hours were per night, but it did not stop. It kept on going for weeks at a time. Another thing is there's always a higher incident of runaways of pets during this time, and some people never get their pets back or they get killed. There's fire dangers. We went for one walk during that time. My husband and I try to go for at least one walk every day. During that time, it was just too loud and stinky. It would make me cough and sneeze the whole time. We went for one walk and we saw people shooting the fireworks, not up in the air, but directly across the street at their neighbor's house. The neighbor wasn't home and they were just shooting the fireworks just directly across the street at their house. And so there's the fire danger. And even though I don't have COPD, asthma, lung cancer, I must have allergies, but people that have breathing problems, that stuff is nasty. I mean, you go out, we went out in our yard and I can't even breathe. So it's just too much. I just also want to say that I think that if we become known as the town that allows fireworks blasting for weeks on end, property values will go down, because I don't think very many people will want to live in a town that sounds like a war zone for weeks at a time. I just really don't think so. I think that it will not be fun. I've heard of people already telling me that they are planning to leave the state for that time frame. So they're not even around for it because it's too much for them. I think people, including me, if I could, I would move away because it's just too much. And it would be really difficult for us to move, and we love our home here. And then at Christmas time, you know, that's supposed to be a time of family and serenity and quiet reflection. If you want to let them shoot them off New Year's Eve when a whole bunch of drunk people are around, you know, I get that. Or even New Year's Day, but not for weeks at a time again over religious holidays when people are trying to have family and quiet and nice times with each other. So I just would ask you to think about limiting the hours. I don't see why it would have to be from morning all the way through night, and then especially limiting the number of days that people can shoot them off here in town. Lots of other towns do it. Manchester doesn't let any private people shoot them anytime. And then I've been reading about lots of other towns that have gone through this, and now they're all saying, hey, we got to cut it back down. And so I would just encourage you to do that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vicki.
Thank you.
Next is Sue Ann.
I'm Sue Ann Raymond, pastor at St. James Episcopal Church. The address is 202 2nd Avenue Northeast. I did my homework before I came here. I read the state law with the 10 o'clock time, but that was totally ignored, anyway, where I've been. I was told that, well, I also read your boundary rules. And I'm very confused by the lack of enforcement of the law regarding public safety, hours listed, as well as the wording of your boundaries. When I called the dispatcher close to 10 p.m., I was told that the boundary was the west side of 2nd Avenue, not the east side. How do you split a street? Are you protecting people walking or the cars just on the west side? What about the cars on the east side? When I went to church that night and went around the corner of 3rd Street and 2nd Avenue, a rocket flew very low just over my car. One rocket was sent close to the church steeple, which is all wood, 154-year-old wood. People were walking down the street. Due to the fireworks being shot off on the sidewalk, they had to walk in the street, and think of the smoke that they had to go through because it was a continual blasting of fireworks. Most of the parking for that area is east of the streets. That means east of 2nd Avenue, and in parking lots. I'm very concerned about all those points that I just brought to you. Your boundary ordinance states it shall be unlawful for any person or entity to use or explode any consumer fireworks or display fireworks on July 3rd or 4th within the area of 7th Street Northeast and 2nd Avenue Northeast with 1st Street East and the Wapsipinicon River as the perimeter boundaries. It does not state east or west side of 2nd Avenue Northeast. So why did the dispatcher tell me it did not pertain to the east side, or why the police did not stop it on that corner? Because it was on the east side of 3rd Street and 2nd Avenue. Is that the reason? I look forward to your answer, and thank you for listening to me at this time.
Okay.
Thank you, Sue Ann.
You won't get the answer tonight, but we will get this put on an agenda, and if you want to, you can come back at that time also. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is to accept and approve the consent agenda that approves the following: the minutes of the June 26, 2017 regular meeting, city financial statements from the month of June and fiscal year 2017 end, and solid waste collection permit with Wright Environmental for July 10th, 2017 through June 30th, 2018. I believe that should be, right? Okay. Do I have a motion?
So I'll make a motion.
Motion from Mike O'Laughlin, second by Bob Hill. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Under the approval for the claims, we do have one claim that needs to come off of it to RJS Welding in the amount of $65.
Where is that, Bonnie?
I believe you got a, did you guys have this on your,
No, I didn't.
I don't know.
I
I
didn't
didn't-
add
I didn't
it.
see it.
It
Oh,
came
okay.
across my desk this morning. There was an issue with the welding that they did, so they're not charging us. And it was already in your claims listing, so we are just asking that you remove it because we won't have to pay it.
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, Tim brought that to your attention.
I'll make a
So-
motion.
Okay?
I was
motion-
wondering about Intercog on their service A for $561.16, what that's for.
I can't tell you specifically just offhand.
Is that a monthly?
No, it would be for services rendered, whether it would be,
It's been on there several months, that's why I'm asking.
yeah, I would have to go back and double check for you, Deb.
Are they the ones that prep our grants and submit them?
Yes.
Among other things, yes, it is. You know, they'll do any of our grant writing if we, and we have another issue coming up later in the meeting pertaining to that type of activity. We do also have an ongoing support for Intercog based on population, and that would be anybody in the Intercog region, which this could be, but I don't want to say affirmatively, Deb, without looking at it.
Okay, I have a motion from Mike Lenius to approve the claims. Do I hear a
I'll
second?
second it.
Second from Mike O'Laughlin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Under hearings and ordinances, we have, I need a motion to receive, file, and consider adopting the ordinance for the second time on Chapter 115 Perpetual Care Cemetery.
Need a motion?
Yes, I need a motion. Motion by Denny, seconded by
Bob.
Bob, I'm sorry. I don't hear hands. We need a roll call on this one?
Hill,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes,
Lenius,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Kurtz.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried. Next is Chapter 41 on the weapons. I need a motion to receive, file, and consider adopting the ordinance for the second time.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mike Lenius, seconded by Denny Vaughn.
I'd just like to make a comment. I think, I've heard people talk about the fireworks. I think somewhere down the line, people better talk to their legislature members about this gun stuff. We can rebuild a building, we can do a lot of things, but when somebody gets killed because everybody and their brother can do anything they want to with a gun, then everybody is going to be shocked. I really hope the legislature will come to their senses before, you stand your ground, carry as many guns as you want, carry them into the library, carry them into City Hall. We have some heated discussions, which is fine. but how are people, we have people don't want to come and talk to the city council because they don't want their neighbor mad at them, or they don't want this. How are they going to feel when they don't know if somebody who's upset with them sitting there with a gun? And so, anyway, that's my 2 cents worth on that. I just think this is going to make the fireworks look pale when somebody gets killed because of all this nonsense about everybody's rights for guns. So, my 2 cents.
Okay.
And I'm going to throw in my 2 cents too, because, we already had home rule, which said we could allow guns if we wanted to. We already had that. But our idiots in the legislature decided that we aren't smart enough how to run our own selves. And that instead, they have to tell us how to behave because we aren't smart enough to control our own city council meeting. And, I think it goes beyond, I don't understand it. I think it's nuts. We have a history of it. 15 years ago in Mount Pleasant, we had a city council, people got shot and killed.
That's how Vilsack became mayor. And
That's how, exactly. And the memory is short. And yeah, and I've been to these meetings in Independence, and I'd hate to have the thought that everyone was packing at these meetings. Because people get uptight and upset. And our legislators go down there and they hide behind what they claim is their, whatever they think is their Second Amendment rights and all that crap. But they don't care about what's going on in here. And so, yeah, go tell them that. And you can tell them what I said. They care less what I think. But you tell them that because it matters. And, politics is local.
Always.
It always is. It's here. And so I'd urge you to, as a public, I'd urge you to get down there, or to go talk to these people, explain to them the reality of it. If we want to have guns, we can still do it under home rule. We could still do it if we really want to.
Taking home rule away with the
Yeah,
collective
but
bargaining and
they took it away
gun
from us.
laws and
Right. Yeah, we aren't smart enough to figure out how to run our own government. We need help from the legislature and the governor. That's my view of it. But I'm the idiot who told you to follow the law, so.
That's why the fireworks were at your place. Somebody was here earlier with those.
Yeah,
Somebody brought
that's
those in
exactly-
earlier, did not stay. And so I said, well, we just listened to our attorney, so she put them on your desk.
Well, that's
Just thought I'd share that.
That's true. We're supposed to follow laws. That's what makes us a democracy. But that doesn't mean we can't change them if we don't like them. So I
Yeah.
urge you to talk to those people. That's
Sometimes I know there are cities that have said, no, let the state sue half the cities in the state of Iowa and waste some more money in Des Moines when they're going bankrupt. But
Well, that's what the big cities in Blackhawk County did. But I just can't tell you to not follow law. I mean, I'm stuck. I don't think that's a very appropriate
Okay.
answer. I've asked those lawyers what their position is. Well, we just don't want to do it. Well, we can't refuse to follow law because we don't want to do it. But,
Did we have a motion and a second on that?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you ready for roll call? Okay.
Hannah,
Yes.
Lenius,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hill,
no,
Motion carried. Next on the agenda is Chapter 69, motion to set the date of public hearing for July 24th, 2017 at 6:30 PM in City Hall Council Chambers on Chapter 69 for parking on, at Second Street.
Southeast.
Southeast, okay.
And this would be from 7th Avenue Southeast to the end of the street traveling east,
Okay,
No parking at all?
on one
on the
side.
south
Well,
side.
we'll have a public hearing for it, so
Okay, we're just
we're just setting the date.
Yeah.
Do I have
make a motion.
motion by Hill?
I'll second.
Second by O'Laughlin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion is carried. So we have a home occupation permit, and we need a motion to hold the public hearing tonight.
Motion.
Motion by Vaughn,
Second.
second by Hill. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. And so we are in public hearing in regards to this.
This applicant is a daycare provider. Our home occupation ordinance does state specifically daycare providers are required to have a home occupation permit, so they are staying in compliance with our city code.
I
How long
didn't
have they
see,
been a daycare?
I don't have that.
I didn't see attached anything for the neighbors that have to sign off for public or home occupation, anything like that. Did they get those things, or?
We sent out, I believe there was only one neighbor that she had listed, and we sent out the notice to them, telling them that they could come tonight, or send us written.
Okay. Is there anybody out there with this particular item, since we're in public hearing, or anybody that wanted to speak to it? Any discussion amongst council members? Then I need a motion to close the hearing, receive and file oral and written comments.
Motion.
Motion by Vaughn,
Second.
seconded by Kurtz. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. And I need a motion to approve a home occupation permit for Nicole Vandermolen for childcare.
I got it.
Motion by Vaughn,
Second.
second by Kurtz. Roll call, please.
Vaughn,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Kurtz.
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Lennius.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. Thank you. Urban Renewal, public hearing on proposed designation of 2017 Pines Edition Housing Urban Renewal. I need a motion to hold the public hearing.
So moved.
Oh, same time.
First and a
Two
second,
of 'em.
take a pick, Gina.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. We are now in public hearing in regards to this proposal. When I need the step to go into the motion for the
Yeah, I'll
public
need a
hearing.
motion to
Okay,
enter.
sorry.
Yep.
I was on the previous one.
That's okay.
Motion to hold the public hearing.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Lennius,
Second.
second by Vaughn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. I hate all these steps to do these.
I know.
We are now in public hearing in regards to the designation of 2017 Pines Edition Housing Urban Renewal Area.
This is step 2 in creating a new urban renewal district for the Pines Housing Addition. If you remember at the last meeting, we took action to remove this area from the current urban renewal district. This creates its own standalone district so that whatever benefits or funds are received from tax increment financing come only from this district to benefit this particular developer. So it just really creates a new district inside of an existing district.
So what is the real purpose of it? Is there a benefit to them or a detriment to the others, or what?
Well, there's a couple of things that this will do for us. First of all, the district that it had been in only has a 7-year remaining life. You're allowed to go up to 11 years. We generally only go 10 years on housing development. Secondly, in this case, Steve G. would have been able to capture benefit from the entire urban renewal district instead of just on his development, which does create some issues down the road because there are other people inside that current district, which you have another public hearing tonight on, that are also interested in capturing some tax increment financing or urban renewal funds for housing development. So it's twofold. One is it limits them to their ability to perform, and it creates a standalone district with a 10-year life.
So by doing away with it last meeting and creating a new one here, it gives them, opens the 10-year window again?
It goes from 7 years to 10 years. I mean, that's the effective change in this pocket, if you will, inside the larger urban renewal district.
Is the amount for the other contractor the same as this one?
The amount, the timeframes are exactly the same because they both came out of the same urban renewal district.
But payments internal advance on,
That has to do with our obligation under city ordinance to put in water mains.
right, right.
And So the numbers are not the same.
Okay.
But proportionately, yes, but there are different scales or different amounts of water
Right,
main
because of the
service.
distance that has to be covered on the Pines versus the other.
Right. The Pines is a much shorter distance because it's building on an existing development, and he's doing smaller blocks, if you will. Whereas in the next public hearing, you'll find it's a much larger area that's covered. Again, they still only have, once the clock starts ticking, they still only have the 10 years to recoup their tax increment. I mean, 11 years is the absolute most set by state law, and again, we have simply capped it at 10 years. If they perform the way that they have projected, that's clearly not an issue. If they don't perform, because we are looking at putting in water and sewer lines per city code, the development agreement, which you will see in 2 weeks after this is established, requires the developer to repay the city's investment. So we don't put infrastructure out there and just leave it sitting indefinitely. If they perform, no issue, everybody's happy, the city gets repaid, we have housing stock, you know, everything's good. But we want to make sure we protect the taxpayers.
You know, I haven't been out there in that area and really looking, but do they have sidewalks? Do they
Sidewalks
put-
are part of the
He puts
development.
sidewalks in all of his.
Yes.
Okay, because I think that's something we ought to start requiring of everybody.
And again, on both of these projects, not that that's part of creating the district, but both of these projects are very good about putting the sidewalks in, and they understand that.
Okay, good.
Other comments? Then I need a motion to close the hearing and receive and file oral or written comments.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by O'Laughlin, seconded by,
Denny.
Jenny?
you guys speak up when you want to
He
make
didn't
a
say
motion.
anything.
I know it. You have to speak for him. Seconded by Denny. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Now I need a motion to receive, file, and consider adopting the ordinance.
So moved.
Motion by Hill, thank
Second.
you. Second by Kurtz, thank you. Do you need a roll call on this? Okay.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Kurtz.
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Lenius,
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried. Next, a resolution to declare necessity and establish an urban renewal area pursuant to Section 403.4 of the Code of Iowa and to approve urban renewal plan and projects for the 2017 Pines Edition Housing Urban Renewal Area. Motion to approve the resolution to declare that.
So moved.
Motion by Hill,
Second.
second by Kurtz. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Lenius,
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried. We're going through this again for another area. An ordinance providing for the division of taxes levied on taxable property in the 2017 Pines Edition Housing Urban Renewal Area pursuant to Section 403.19 of the Code of Iowa. We need a motion. Oh, that's on the other, okay. We need a motion for this, to do that?
Does this, what is this, what are we granting here?
In essence, you're saying you're going to comply with state law as to how the taxes generated on here are going to be divvied up.
Okay,
And there's several pages to get to that basic
I
concept.
read it, I didn't understand it.
It also says that you will set aside, I think it's approximately 42% of all funds received from this tax increment district to be used only for low to moderate income housing needs, however those are defined.
Isn't that above the required percentage for LMI?
It changes by city, and the state tells us what it is, and ours is somewhere between 38 and 42, but it is the established amount per state code for independence.
Okay.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Kurtz. Second?
I'll second.
Second by O'Laughlin. Roll call, please.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Lenius,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
O'Laughlin.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried. Now we need a public hearing on proposal designation 2017 Jackson Green Housing Urban Renewal. Motion to receive and file proof of publication of motion of public hearing.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by O'Laughlin, seconded by
Second.
Kurtz. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. I need motion to hold the public hearing.
Second.
Denny and Mike, how's that?
Okay, motion by Vaughn, second by Lennius. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. We are now in public hearing for the Jackson Green Housing Urban Renewal project.
Same process, different project. It's just across the street in this case.
Giving them 10 years.
Again, it establishes a 10-year urban renewal district. That's the life of the district. That's what we're limited to by state law.
There's no amounts on this one, though, Al, like for the outstanding general obligation or the LMI.
That will be given to us. What you're doing is creating the district, but again, same process.
And that way, anything from this only goes to this district, the same as it did for
Correct.
the other one. Okay.
All of the revenue generated will stay within this specific area. Why they put it on one and not the other, I'm not sure what the rationale was, but,
Yeah, I'd like to have solid numbers on something when I'm voting on it.
well, let me caution you, the numbers that they're giving us are estimates.
Oh.
They're going to be based on actual performance.
Right.
You know, as they go through.
Right.
This, I will tell you, this is approximately twice the size of the Pines Edition.
Right,
Just generically, I mean, it's much larger.
yeah.
No other comments. I need a motion to close the hearing and receive and file oral and written comments.
So moved.
Motion by Hill, seconded by
I'll second.
Vaughn. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion is carried. I now need a motion to receive, file, and consider adopting the ordinance.
You got it.
Thank you. Motion by Vaughn, seconded by
I'll second it.
O'Laughlin. You need a roll call? Okay.
Hill,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Lennius,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried. These aren't ones that need three things,
No.
okay. Next step, a resolution to declare necessity and establish an urban renewal area pursuant to section 403.4 of the Code of Iowa, and to approve urban renewal plan and projects for the 2017 Jackson Green Housing Urban Renewal Area. Motion to approve a resolution to do so.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion from Kurtz, second by O'Laughlin. Any other discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Hannah,
Yes.
Lennius,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried. Third step, an ordinance providing for the division of taxes levied on taxable property in the 2017 Jackson Green Housing Urban Renewal Area pursuant to section 403.19 of the Code of Iowa.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
We're going pretty fast here. Roll call, please.
Lennius,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Okay. Next, under resolutions, resolution to assess property owners for Chapter 52 mowing, failure to comply.
So moved.
Motion by Hill,
Second.
second by Lennius. Need another roll call? Okay.
Vaughn,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Lennius,
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried. Next, a motion to approve plans, specs, and acceptance of bids for the well house rehabilitation project. I see Mr. Crawford is here. If anybody has anything, any questions?
This would be
Bolton.
Adrian Holmes from Bolton and Mink, who is here.
Oh,
Well
I'm
House
sorry.
Rehab.
I'm on the wrong one?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the plans that have finally received approval from the DNR to go out for bid.
That one.
There are a couple of things that the council has brought up, wanting to have set aside or bid alternates on. And I think those have all been honored. If I'm not mistaken, the architectural services, the roofs and doors are a bid alternate, so you can see what those cost. The MHI well is an alternate. We want to wait until we make sure that we have a well there to build a house around, or a well house around, or to rehab. So that is separate. And then sometime back, we said we wanted to have an alternate on the hot water heat for the eyewash stations, but also for the deluge shower. And there was a question as to what that cost would be. We have an engineer's estimate, but we did not have the, we weren't certain on the need for it. Now, technically, the 10 state standard would tell you it has to be, what's the word, Adrian, tempered water. And under the deluge shower, that would take a much larger water heater than what we had been looking at. The cost was pretty significant. But we do have that as a bid alternate, and again, that goes back to when we first started about the conversation. Adrian, I don't know, I think those are the only three. Three alternates in the bid project.
Does that mean when the bids come back, we can not approve if we don't like those alternates, or what does that mean?
Exactly, if you decide that the deluge shower being at 70-degree water is too expensive, you reject that alternate. You accept the base bid, which is just heating the eyewash stations.
I thought we discussed using, or at least looking into the hot water on demand type heater. In other words, continuous flow.
Well, I think, I'll let Adrian talk to that, but I think the issue with the on-demand is you're going to have a tough time with a deluge shower keeping the water that, at that temperature as it passes through.
It's not that temperature until you use it.
I understand, but I think it has to do with the volume of water that you have to put through there for the deluge shower.
Do we need a motion on this?
Yes.
Does anybody else got any? I'll make a motion.
Okay, I have a motion from Hill, seconded.
I'll second it.
Seconded from Kurtz. Roll call, please.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Kurtz.
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Lenius,
Yes.
Vaughn.
No.
Thank you. Motion is carried. Next on the agenda is the Committee of the Whole. Motion to approve a resolution permanently implementing the Council Committee of the Whole meeting structure. We had it on a trial basis for, what, 6 months?
I would make a motion to approve that.
Okay, motion from Kurt,
I would second that.
second from O'Laughlin. Any discussion?
I'd just like for the public to know that this has been a very good thing that we've done. It eliminated a lot of confusion. It created an extra meeting for us each month, but it kind of shortened up some of the others. But it really gives us a lot of clarity before we get into a council meeting. So I think this is one of the best things that came out of our, thought process last year.
Okay. Roll call, please.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Kurtz.
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Lenius,
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried. Under new business, motion to accept loan approval from, and you'll need to decide, you have a list of what the percentages are for the 2018 CIP police vehicle. So whoever makes the motion needs to fill in which place they would like to do that from.
I'll make the motion, we use the Farmer State Bank.
Okay?
I'll second it.
So we have a motion to accept loan proposal from Farmers State Bank for the 2018 CIP police vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a
Yeah.
branch out there where
Branch out.
Godfather's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought somebody was behind the times.
Nope. Did I get a sec? Yeah.
Lenius.
It's on mine.
Lanny's, I'm sorry. Okay. You want a roll call on this one also?
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Lenius,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
O'Laughlin.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried. Next is a motion to enter into the engineering service agreement with Crawford Engineering and Surveying for the Southwest Water System Upgrade Project.
I've read the proposed contract, and I don't have any amendments or changes to it.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Motion from Kurtz,
I'll second it.
seconded by O'Laughlin. Any other discussion? If not, we need a roll call.
Hannah,
Yes.
Lenius,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried. Motion to approve, and we need to fill in the year agreement with OpenGov for city financial transparency.
I would recommend that you consider the 3 one-year agreements as opposed to the 3-year agreement. They did agree to match the pricing for it either way. This is the financial software that we use on our website for displaying the financial reports each month. But again, I'd suggest that we do the 3 one-year agreements versus the 3-year agreement.
Is this what's going to make things better for you, Gina?
This one's kind of more for the public. It basically is just giving them access to our checkbook so that they can see everything that we're paying, how we're paying it, what department's using it, what vendors are getting what amount. Very interactive on the website.
I think it's a great idea.
We've been using this for the last year, so just about a year now that we've been, carrying it under the transparency tab on our website. And again, not just the checkbook and the numbers, but it graphs everything out for you in the CIP as well as our operating budgets within the departments or city in general, so.
This not available to the general public, is it?
Yes, it is. That's the strength behind it is anybody in town that goes to the transparency tab on our website can click on that, go into the OpenGov link, and they have access to everything. The difference is we publish our financials, we publish our payables, that's all out there. But I won't say it's real easy to read. I think gives you a chance to take a look. How much do we spend with RJS Welding on an annual basis? We have more than one bill with them over the course of the year, or whoever it is. But you can take a look at individual vendors, you can take a look at individual departments, programs, whatever the case might be. It just gives you an awful lot of flexibility in taking a look at where do we spend the taxpayers' money.
What's that listed under?
Transparency at the very
No,
bottom.
transparency.
Now he's gonna spell it for you, Bob T.
Carter's playing with it right now.
Way to go, Carter.
Are you looking at it and it's doing good? Oh, okay.
That's cool. I didn't know it was there.
No, I mean, once you hit transparency, is there someplace you go, you have to go to get to the books then?
No, you can jump right in.
right there.
There's all kinds of stuff on there.
So can you manipulate them from your iPhone?
I don't know. Yeah.
You can't make any changes to it. Yeah.
I don't think so.
And for example, what
Okay.
will happen is after claims are approved today, Susie will print the checks and she'll pull a report and upload it in there. So everything that we approve tonight will be available for citizens to view tomorrow or Wednesday, as soon as she can get it on there. But
Okay, so the motion is to approve the 3 one-year agreement with OpenGov for city financial transparency.
So moved.
Thank you. Motion from Kurt, seconded by
I'll second.
Hill. Roll call, please.
Lenius,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried. Last on the agenda, memorandum of understanding for the 2017 REAP application. Motion to approve that.
This would be a memorandum of understanding with Intercog, as Councilman O'Laughlin had alluded to earlier. Intercog will write the grant for us. We're working with Crawford Engineering to design the section of Liberty Trail that we would like to put into this REAP application for paving. So between our working with Crawford Engineering and Intercog, submit the grant. It's a $100,000 cap for City of Independence. There's no minimum requirement of a match, although REAP is more competitive, obviously, with local match. But Intercog does not get paid unless this is funded. And, you know, that's one of the advantages of having our arrangement with them is they only get paid for their services should they be successful.
And then is this for the second half of our trails, or is
No,
this
thi-
for?
This would be for Liberty Trail. In essence, there's a concept to pave from Iowa Avenue east to the existing paved Liberty Trail on the north side of the Cobb plant.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
This will not cover all of that. We're going to have to do that in several segments, but the state REAP grant is one of the most viable grant opportunities we have.
Liberty Trail's the one that follows the railroad tracks out by the school.
Yeah, toward MHI.
Right.
Toward
Like if you're
MHI.
walking from the
Yeah.
corn cob plant toward MHI.
Yeah, so it's not the one going along 150.
Right.
No, that's correct.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Motion from Kurt, seconded by
I'll second it.
O'Laughlin. Roll call, please.
Bond,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Lennius.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried. Next, we're under reports. I see that we have an extra department head here. Would you like to go first?
Just an update on the MHI well. They're doing their last treatment on it today, and they will chlorinate it tomorrow, and then we'll see where we go from there. They used an acid this time to clean the walls. They feel it went on so long that it got encrusted, and so they're trying to get through that crust, is why we're continuing to have a problem. And so we'll know by the end of the week what it's going to, I mean, it's going to take a while once we get it chlorinated and dumped back out again. And you guys send in bacterial tests, so make sure everything's okay and ready to go.
Was I correct in reading, Al, they're not charging us for this second?
Right. I verified that with him today. I called him and talked to him. So
Okay.
this is included.
No.
There'll be
We
no more.
talked about not spending more money, but that's why we went ahead, because
Yeah, this was on an earlier quote that I told you we were going to do.
Don't we still have more bills coming in from MHI Wellhouse? So
Just that one treatment.
We had the initial treatment 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was in May.
And, you know, when they finished that treatment, they pumped it all out. We took some samples. There was still some iron bacteria in there. They took another sample, sent it back to Kansas City for further testing. Northway came back and said, wait, we think that in working with these guys, we've got more work to do in here. They said, it's all going to be part of the original quote that we gave you, so it's being done under the same bill. I did state, Bob, when you asked me last meeting, if the Northway bill covered all of this. We paid everything that we owed Northway, but they haven't billed us yet for this treatment.
first treatment.
For the first treatment. And so that was my mistake. I thought everything was included in there, but we haven't been billed for that.
And that was like 14,000, was it?
Mm-hmm.
14,
Yeah.
15?
Quote was for 15. I haven't seen the bill yet, so.
So
Mark, what they done out there, did that include pulling the well casing for some reason?
The well casing has been cleaned and televised, and everything's ready to go otherwise. There's no, they don't find any problem with the well casing.
Well, I seen them pulling the casing.
They have to pull it to do the acid, because otherwise you just ruin your pump when it's down there. Plus, they have to airlift these, anything that's in the bottom of that, they have to airlift it out. So the pump has to be out of there to get
What
that out.
does that mean, airlifted?
They use a compressor, a very large, one of your large, like a jackhammer compressor. And they actually stick a tube down the bottom of that well, and that creates a pressure that brings anything that's in the bottom out.
Okay.
So,
I was just curious what that meant.
right, I wasn't familiar with airlifting, but that's what it is. And it's amazing things they bring up. I mean, they'll bring up rocks that size.
So once we get this test result back, then maybe at the committee of the whole, we can talk about if it's good, we use it, if it's not, or we go from there.
Well, if the well is good, then it's pretty easy. We just get it back into service. If it's not good, then we have to come back and have the conversation and say, where are we going from here?
Do we actually own that well, or is it still owned by the state?
Still owned by the state.
So we can
How about the equipment? Like the pump, that's a pretty high-priced item, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who owns the pump?
It goes by that contract, that lease that was signed years ago.
We have the maintenance on it, and I would say we've probably paid for that pump a couple of times over all these years of
No
maintenance.
doubt about that, but who has legal ownership of it, that's my question. Because if we close that down, that's ours, the way I feel.
Now that you've ticked off the state part of the motion, check on
Yeah, I guarantee the state now.
I think
Well-
we'd be pretty careful about reading that contract again.
I have
before we
never
make
seen it,
decisions.
so.
Well, but the key to it is see what happens this time, and then if we decide not to spend any more money, we really run fine with 4, don't we, Mark?
Yeah.
So
See,
it's
that's,
really kind of a easy decision if it, I mean, I think a lot of times we just, throw good money after bad, and we just got to make up our minds that what we've spent, and be done.
yeah,
But if we cap that, there's a cost for that also, to close it and not use it anymore?
yeah, there'd be a cost for
And
that,
is
but I don't know if the
something
state would have.
state has to do?
can't we just give it to them?
Well, they own it, so.
Give it to them
You
for
just
50
pump
cents.
it full of concrete, don't you, Mark?
Bentonite, I think they start dumping bentonite down it, and then that seals it up.
Okay, well, I think we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Then we'll make a decision. Thanks.
That's about all we can do, so. But anyway, they're gonna probably put it back together Wednesday, and we'll take some bacterial samples later in the week. Maybe next week we'll go see where we're at, so. The other wells, the pump that is out there, Denny, though, that's a submersible, and we do not have any other submersibles in town. So that's the odd part about that well. That's a big submersible pump, and so we wouldn't have any need for it with the other ones. So
Would we continue to use the water tower out there?
I would assume we'd still have that lease on the water tower, because that is important out there, that water tower. So, we did do our annual nitrates last month, and they all came back fine. They met all the state regs that they needed, so they all come in under. And I have a tentative end of August date for the river line cleaning and televising. So sometime the end of August, they think they'll be in to do that, televise that and clean it, see where we're at. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Dustin?
First thing I'd like to start off with is last week Kayla started with our department. She started on Thursday. Today would be her Friday. She'll be out the next couple of days. But anyway, she's been doing very well. She's actually already been on the radio helping call out traffic stops, doing stuff. So she's progressing along very quickly. Happy to see. Before this meeting, I just got done talking to the group that came to talk to you guys about the four-wheelers and the ATVs. I had noticed quite a few of them running behind my house, which is not a part of the route. I've actually seen a couple kids in the box of them before, which is not legal. This is when I was off duty, so I'd call, but by the time an officer would get down there, couldn't find him. So what I did is I've talked to that group, said, hey, let's advertise this some more about the routes and the safety and so forth. So we had a good meeting with them. They're going to go to all the shops in town that work on ATVs and talk to them, make sure that we can get, especially with the new one down by Dairy Queen, they work on some down there, make sure the flyers are up, make sure the pamphlets are there so they all know where the route's at, make sure they kind of stay on it. As they try to hopefully do a little better at maybe staying on them, or they're going to work on that, and if for some reason we can't, maybe try a different route or figure out some other way of doing it. Like I said, the officers can do as best as they can but sometimes they don't see it. And every time I've seen them at my house, it's when I'm off duty. Because I sit there with my garage doors open as I'm working on something, is when I see them run behind there. I haven't seen any complaints about them driving too fast, really. I haven't seen them about tearing up any roads or any streets, going in the place. The only thing I've seen so far or heard about is either off-route, or, like I said, I've seen a couple of kids in the back of them. Other than that, ATVs haven't really been a problem in town. So, just wanted to let you know that they're gonna start working, putting a little more stuff out there on their Facebook pages compared to also putting more things out. I'm gonna have it put on ours as well here shortly again to make sure that we just reiterate where the route's at, the safetiness of them, what you need to do with the ATV. Second thing is when you guys walked in, you saw the trailer with all the weight equipment and stuff on it. Guy by the name of Greg Reckward and a friend of his donated that to the police department, fire department. I went down with a buddy from Rhinebeck. Greg was a firefighter for Waterloo and a reserve for Cedar Falls. I just came in contact with him and he was selling all this stuff. Talked to him a little bit. He said he donated over $5,000 in weight equipment out there on the trailer. Definitely made my trailer, that's my trailer it's sitting on, but made my trailer squat a little bit with all that stuff put on there. I didn't realize how much he had until we got there to start loading it up. But yeah, he donated that to, they said, the fire department, police department, between the two because of his career and so forth of what he's done. He was going to try to sell it, but people were back and forth on prices. He just said, I'd rather donate to a good cause of some department that could use it. We do have some stuff upstairs, but this will add to the equipment that the fire department, police department get to use and so forth, so.
Are we sure on the floor, Joyce?
Yes.
You weren't overloaded,
Right.
were you?
Huh?
You weren't overloaded, were you?
No, I was not. We'll make sure we're on the floor joist right above Al's office. So, we're good, so, but that's what that equipment's for and so forth. And I'm hoping tomorrow after I get done actually working in the office, I can get up here and with some help and get it up and stuff moved upstairs. So we're gonna have to take some of the equipment apart because where we got it from his place was pretty easy. For us to get it upstairs, it's gonna have to come in pieces, so.
Well, yeah, an elevator would be a real lot easier, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. And you're gonna volunteer to help, right?
Now that you're retired, you're volunteering to help?
No.
But that's what that is for. I brought in the letter today for the ladies at the office to send out a nice thank you letter and a donation form for them, so. But no, that was a great asset for them, so. But, other than that, 4th of July is over. We did have a few calls, not fireworks related, did have quite a few of them. A few other calls that we took care of. We're still missing a vehicle out of the city though. Somebody decided to borrow it and hasn't brought it back. So,
A city-owned vehicle?
no,
Not a police car, right?
no, it's not a city-owned vehicle. It's somebody in the public has had their vehicle stolen and it's not returned yet. We haven't found it. So we did have we had 2 stolen, 1 has been returned. One has been found. We got that one, but they're still missing 1, so and a couple other things that happened, but other than that, it was pretty good. Everybody pretty much was working, for the 4th of July. We had everybody out, which was really good, so down in the park was pretty quiet. For call-wise, I can't say it was pretty quiet, but for call-wise, it was quiet, so, but other than that, pretty good.
How many fines were issued for fireworks?
I can't say if any were issued for fireworks, being it's the first time fireworks were allowed. Most people get warnings for it, say, okay, this is what our ordinance is, to make sure they're aware of it. So,
Can you check, I see there's a number of police departments that are making recommendations to their city councils, that's in the Courier.
okay.
Kind of check around and see what some of the other communities are.
I'm a part of a police chief association, which we can put stuff on there and I'll check with them, see if any of the chiefs have any recommendations, so.
On your ATVs, is that route listed on our website? I mean, so
Yep,
people can know what
Yep,
the route actually
There's
is?
a 3-page pamphlet up front here. It's on the city website. We've posted on our Facebook page before. We have the same pamphlet at our office. I know they have it up at the courthouse where you get your vehicle registered. I don't know where else they would actually have those at, but I know they're online.
So anybody that has an ATV has a way of finding out what that route is, so they
Absolutely.
know where they should be
Yep.
and where they shouldn't, okay.
And they have the ability to take the closest route they can from their residence to the actual route.
Yes.
But they're not supposed to be.
As
Right.
long as they don't travel down 150, or the state
Right,
roads.
right.
Yes, but yeah, they can go from their house, if they're 2 blocks off, they can go straight to the route and down. And that's why some people brought up, well, maybe they live in that area behind my house where I've seen them. Yeah, I know everybody in my neighborhood, nobody has one there, so.
But probably the easiest way for people to give, you have to, you don't get anything sent to you. You have to go up to the courthouse and get a sticker, a annual registration or whatever you call it, but a sticker for them, and they have those routes
Okay.
there, so it's easy to get one.
I'd point out that the ATV group did a significant project in putting signage up as well, so.
Yes, they did.
As you take a look
Yeah.
around, there's an awful lot of signage if you're lost or confused.
And that's one thing that they brought up, because they did a great job at signing. If you go over to Delaware County into Manchester, there's no signs anywhere, and they allow ATVs over there on a route. So where's the route? You don't know until either you find a map somewhere or you get stopped for it, so. Yep. But no, I'll look into the recommendations to the city for the fireworks. But say that is, other than being a really busy week, I think went pretty well, so, thank you.
Okay. I don't think there's any other department heads. Michael Laughlin, would you like to start amongst our council members?
Sure. I would concur with many of the comments on the fireworks. I was very disappointed with the length of time they went on to, well after midnight, a couple nights around where I live, and I'm glad we did a one-year experiment, and I'm hopeful that that's the extent of it.
So are you wanting to get it on the agenda to readdress it?
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. Anything else?
No, thank you.
Denny?
I really don't have anything, except I feel just like Mike about the fireworks. It's, I don't know, it's kind of like a kid in a candy store, you know? They just went a little crazy, I thought. There didn't seem to be much control over the whole thing. That's about all I got.
It was the lack of respect for their neighbors that bothered me
Oh,
a lot.
Yeah.
And it's too bad a few caused that for the majority.
Well, there was quite a few.
Was there? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Agree.
Must have got lucked out or something. Anything else?
No.
I don't have anything. We didn't have a finance committee meeting this week, or last week. We'll have it this week. Two things for me, and one, I was just going to ask a question about the sidewalk grinding thing. Is that, I mean, we do have, some examples out there, and I think it's pretty good, and I think it's going to be a good option for our citizens and everybody. But we didn't, what's the process we have to go through now for that, Al?
Well, they were supposed to be in town either today or tomorrow, and I didn't see them today, so I'm guessing they'll be here tomorrow to do the survey of Ward 2.
Okay.
And they'll cover all of that. They'll give us a report identifying where all of the issues are. We'll use that to send out letters to notify people of, these are the issues that have to be addressed. We'll give them a list of options. There's some places where the sidewalk may have to be replaced. Well, that's pretty straightforward. But if it's not replacing a sidewalk, they can do some, I don't know, we used to call it mud jacking, but I think it's polylifting. We can do the sawing, we can do grinding, whatever the case might be. We want to give the homeowners all the options that we can as far as different ways to take care of it. And that's part of what the sawing option is. It's just one more alternative for them. And fairly cost-effective, I think, on a per-site basis, but we'll let the homeowners decide.
For the residents of the city, there are examples of this sawing right around City Hall here. If you want to look at it, I think it looks pretty good. I too will just chime in on this. I think we all, I don't know. I can't really say what we were thinking of when we voted for this, but in hindsight, I think we've learned a lot. I think you'll see, as we look at the ordinance again, I think the public will see that. I don't really think we took into consideration young kids, elderly people, just a lot of people. Pets, I know we didn't. And I know we didn't think about veterans or other people that that it really bothers. So I too am happy that we'll bring this up with relook at it, and I think you can see from the attitude of the council that we'll make some adjustments. So, thanks.
Deb?
I'll say the same thing about the fireworks. We need to ban them from the town of Independence, because when you drive around town, there isn't, I don't think, one place in town that you can shoot a firework and know where it's gonna go. I sat for 3 hours in my front yard on the 4th, not knowing if that stuff was gonna be in our laps. Cars literally stopped. This is on Second Avenue. Had to stop because of smoke. Stuff was hitting the cars. On June 3rd, they were going on well past hours. I got home probably at 10 o'clock from down at the dog park stuff. My cell phone was going off the wall till after 11 o'clock. Finally, I got up out of bed, got dressed, walked down there on Second Avenue, yelled at everybody that was doing the fireworks, said they need to shut them down, called the police, warnings given out. People, one of the biggest complaints is we set an ordinance and the ordinance wasn't followed. And so, yeah, we have to change it. So that's it on that one. Then another thing, I've been asked by a few people, had discussions about the airport, where Jonathan Walters is working full-time at another job in Perry. And I don't know if that's a right or a wrong thing on that, but the wrong thing that I didn't like is the public is notifying me of that. And they're like, you're city council, why don't you know it? I said, I don't know if it's true, I don't know if it's not, but I will bring it up. So, there it is.
The only comment I can give you is Jonathan Walters providing his airport management service to the city of Independence. It's a contract position. There's nothing in the contract that precludes Mr. Walter or anybody else from doing additional
Can he do
work.
us a good job out there and be somewhere else full-time too?
Well,
You know?
his airport contract comes up in September of 18. I guess the question is he doing the job that we expect of him? At this point, I don't see anything that's missing in his.
I think the biggest issue is the public's notifying me that. It's also about the pool thing too. The swimming pool, the public come and said, do you realize part of the pool's on land that we don't own? No. Why don't you know that? You're a city council.
I didn't know.
I don't know.
I didn't know the pool was on land we didn't own.
The overhang of the pump house is.
Well, I think the misnomer, the misinformation is the fact that there is a concern for some utilities, and thus the utility easement that was on the agenda tonight that will be revisited, I think, on the 24th. It's not that the pool is not on city property.
Well,
But
definitely
I
probably should
think
have been moved
my-
over 15 feet,
I
so we
think-
can get into this issue. But
I
again.
think the real issue
The
is,
issue is that the public is the one that's notifying me saying, you're a city council, why don't you know these things?
well, I think the real
I don't
issue,
know.
I think the real issue is if that was a question, why didn't you call me?
This just
but I
happened
would-
just days, and I did talk with Bob Beatty. He took me down, and you can clearly stand there and see the mark in our pump house roof. If you want to measure, it's probably on the line, one way or the other. And we all know that you have to be 3 or 4 feet off, so, it's not right.
I want to make a comment about the airport thing. I know that Jonathan's a contract employee. I accept that. I accept that we don't tell him that he doesn't go to Perry. I'm fine with that. But I agree with Deb, and I think it would have gone, there's a lot of, I don't know if I'd say it's distrust, but between the airport and certain council members and citizens, there's just this continuous thing churning all the time. And I do believe that Jonathan could have made some strides towards everybody being, like all happy. And I know they're never gonna be all happy, but he could have made some strides by telling us, hey, this is gonna happen. Then at least we would have known. We'd have known kind of how to explain it, just like Deb says. But otherwise, everything just all swirls up and you get everybody all whipped up and it's another one of those distractions that we really didn't need. And he could have just gone to the airport committee and said, hey, guys, this is what I'm gonna do. So, enough on that, but I agree with Deb that there's no reason that we find all this stuff from the citizens. And that one could have been avoided.
I'd like to visit about that for just 1 second, Mike. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I'm done.
Okay,
but,
but we're on our
I'm
way.
done, I'm
You
done.
guys have had your turns.
Well, I know, but we're the council. We can have two
This
terms.
is a council meeting, not a mayor meeting.
Yes, it is.
I don't know about Jonathan or not. Like Mike said, there's always some turmoil there. But I really think it was Al's point to tell the council. That's his job to keep us informed. And I'm sure he knew about it. I'm not even gonna ask him, but I knew it. I just, in my own gut feeling, thought he knew that all along. And he refused to tell us about it, and I don't understand why, but I just wanna throw that out there. There's nothing we can do about it today, but, something, food for thought for tomorrow, you know?
Okay, I wasn't done with my stuff yet, it was my turn.
Yes, it is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Since
That's
you're
fine.
finished,
You
no
can-
more?
And on a
You want me to
positive,
leave?
No
and on a
more.
positive note,
Till
we
the
had a
meeting's
dog
over.
park fundraiser at Todd and Patty Cousys, and we thank them for that. And the people that helped with the 4th of July stuff for our dog park committee was Brian and Jana Erickson, Marion and Al Ryden, Vicki Reardon, Holly Cameron, Renee Kindworth, Pat O'Connor, Teresa Rathman, Monica Eldridge, Chris Han, Joan Dale, John and Diane Kurtz, and thank everybody in that committee that helped us to get things. We had a float in the parade, and I think it was a good time for all, but it was nice that the people stepped forth to help us with the
And
committee.
Tyson's donated all.
Tyson's donated the dog treats. We had donations for the candy we threw out. We handed out brochures. So we're wanting to get the dog park up and running as fast as we can, so we ask for business people or anybody to step forth and help us with donations to get the fence up so we can get it open. Thank you.
Well,
Thanks for all you've done, Deb.
Diane has been really, I had one
Well, thanks,
with
Diane,
stuff
too.
too, so. Yeah, she's done a lot of work and a lot of homework for several years, so if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be where we're at right now with it, so. Thank you.
Anything else?
That is it
Okay.
for tonight.
Bob?
I rest my case on guns in City Hall. Nope, I just wanted to say that, again, I agree with the fireworks. I think the only time I've ever heard worse is we camped in upstate New York one time when we had our little scamper pop-up camper, and they didn't tell us the New York National Guard was going to be doing artillery practice all night, so it sounded about that bad for way too long, I guess. I think if we kept it, it's got to be within a few days of the 4th, and I agree. I don't think Christmas is a time we need to have fireworks.
Those were the craziest days, though, 3rd and 4th.
But the other thing is, I really wanted to thank people that were involved with the 4th of July. Really enjoyed all the activities down at the park and all of the entertainment, the parade. Don't think the parade was any shorter this year. Was shorter, but a lot of candy. My grandkids got 3 of them that are sugar high now for a year. But one thing was nice with the new street. We could tell them the black strip. That's all the farther you can go. Farther than the black strip. That's it. But 4th of July was good. Fireworks was the legal city fireworks was great.
Beautiful.
And so I think we can be very proud of all those things. And I do like, it looks like the sidewalks are kind of pretty well done for the north-south sections. And I think that really makes those storefronts even look better along those side streets where the new sidewalks are in. So I'm glad we're getting some projects that are kind of getting started up. The pool, I have to say that we were talking about the pool. The well house part wasn't talked about as far as the roof, but Bob did talk at the Public Works Committee meeting about having some problem with runoff from the north. And at that time, I think that was the primary issue, was working with the northern landowner to get some kind of shrubbery or grass planted, so that so far we've only had dirt come up to the fence. I haven't had anything go into the swimming pool proper, but I think now there's this other issue that's come up. But initially, that was what we were looking at, was just to work with him on trying to get something to prevent dirt runoff going into the pool from the north. But so anyway, well, I thought it was a pretty good 4th of July outside of the fireworks, and I did have a few colorful metaphors told to me about the fireworks, so that I understand why they didn't want to come and talk to the council. They probably would have been bleeped out, so appreciate the ones that did come. Thank you.
That it?
That's it.
Okay.
I tried to calm them down, John. Don't
On the
more.
fireworks thing, it's like every law that we make is to try and control something. And now you find out the reason why we had, for many years, no fireworks allowed in Iowa. Because you have some people that respect them and use them intelligently, and then you have idiots. And laws are because of idiots. And unfortunately, you know, they're gonna take away the enjoyment for other people because of it. And that's, I said at the beginning when I posted something on Facebook about what the ordinance was going to be, I just said, everybody please be respectful of your neighbors and everybody else. And they proved that they can't do that, which is really too bad. On a more positive note, we did participate in the 4th of July parade with the dog park float, and I just wanted to thank Deb and the committee. They did a fabulous job putting all that together. They did a marvelous job. And I encourage residents to turn out and support their donations for it, because we need to raise some money for some fencing. And then the only other thing I had was we did go to the pool dedication, and it's a fine facility, and we're really lucky to have it. So thanks everybody that worked on that.
I was disappointed at the pool dedication, though. I thought sure we had to pass a resolution, the mayor was going to go down the water slide.
There was
but
no
He
resolution.
refused at the last minute for, I don't know why.
It's only 3 feet deep.
When it's my turn to talk, I'll explain that to you.
I'll tell you what, I think we're taking a lot of, there's a lot of people from the surrounding communities that are spending a lot of time here.
Well, they
It's
said they're
starting to
having up
see it.
to 400
Yeah.
people a day using the pool, so.
I think it's turning out to be a great thing.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Carter, it's your turn.
The mayor put these on my desk.
I like to
Yeah,
leave
yeah.
you gifts every
And
once in a while.
then Denny asked me why I let you go ahead and adopt the ordinance, repeal the old ordinance, because before we didn't allow them at all. And those both are criticisms well taken. I didn't see this coming either, and I experienced it. I live in the county, in Bremer County, and it was horrible, just in the county where I was. And I can only imagine what it was like in town. So I apologize. You know, there's two roles a lawyer, an attorney faces. We're both supposed to be, we tell you what the laws are, but we're also supposed to counsel. And that was a situation where I should have jumped in and told you about some of the pitfalls that I could see, and I didn't. So I apologize to all of you in the community. I should have, some of these things I knew, you know, back growing up, when people used to shoot these things at me when I was a little kid. And I knew it, you know, I just sort of figured, well, you know, it'll all work out. People wouldn't be that stupid like we were back in the 60s. And I was clearly wrong. People are stupider, I think, than we were. So next time, I think I will do a better job of, if I see an issue you're not talking about, I'll throw it out there. But I also try to balance it where I don't want to be part of the politics. You guys have to make political decisions, and I should not be engaging in politics. And so I'll try to be careful, although I did say a lot of horrible things about the legislature. Anyway, that's all I have to say.
You're gonna be audited this year.
Revenue and finance is gonna be.
Gina, your turn.
There is going to be a lot of training for myself and my 2 staff members, Katie and Susie, the next couple of weeks. On Wednesday, Susie and I are going to get some IPERS training. Katie has already had it, but Susie and I haven't, so we're going to learn. And then the 17th through the end of the month, we will be alternating, going down to Des Moines to clerk school, and that's just getting us educated on the different roles and responsibilities a city clerk or deputy clerk or anybody in the clerk's office needs to know and help us work towards getting that certification in the state. So we'll thank you guys for letting us go to that training, and we'll bring back lots of good stuff to help improve what we do for the citizens and for you guys.
Al?
We have some good news today. The contract has been awarded for Bland Boulevard. Chig-Fry Construction has been awarded the contract to redo that. We don't have a lot of say in what their late start date is or when they do it. They have 20 working days to complete the project, but the state issues the bids on behalf of the county, and their late start date is September 18th, I believe it is.
I thought it was supposed to be done before school started.
That was the stated goal, that was the intent, but the state doesn't see the world quite the way that we do. And they said they're late, it doesn't mean they won't start earlier, but the latest that they can start it is September 18th, I believe it is. And again, they have 20 working days to complete it before the penalties kick in. But Chig-Fry's done very well once they get started, and I don't have any reason to believe that they won't do as well. Our participation is simply as a financier for our third of the project. It is a county project, not a city project. So I know Brian and his crew will do a good job of getting that done. So
Did the bids come in approximately where we thought with?
just a little bit under what their engineer estimate was. In the same ballpark, but a little bit under. So I think we're in pretty good shape.
What's our portion of that, Al?
It's based on linear feet or lane feet, if you will, and it's approximately 2/3, 1/3. So ours would be about 1/3 of the cost. We've budgeted
87?
185 or 187,000 for it, and it should be within ours, within that budget, as long as there's no unforeseen overruns on their project, so.
And Brian, we do have, we talked about it, but there's for the biking or the walking, the additional area on the right, on one side of it, is that correct?
It's not this,
Well,
Brian, he's
Brian
talking about.
Crawford, I'm talking to Brian Crawford.
But he has nothing to do with Bland.
I'm talking about Brian
He's
Highliver.
the county engineer.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was
County
thinking that
engineer.
you
No.
were in on the
No.
engineering for that.
No, county is.
Okay,
The-
we get that.
Both sides.
It's gonna be on both
Both
sides?
sides.
Okay, good.
It'd be just like old 20 going to Winthrop.
I thought it was.
You should have answered, Brian.
Lots of Brians.
I couldn't believe that
Okay.
Mr.
Thank you.
Highliver was here that
Same thing on
quiet
the
that
other
morning.
one, so.
Yeah.
I would issue a plea to those people in the community that might have grass or neighbors that have grass that's getting a little long. I know the council's expressed an interest in us being a little bit more aggressive in doing that, which we are. You've started that process tonight, but we will be out mowing. If you're, the city ordinance is 8 inches. I'm not sure that we're out there with a yardstick at 8.5 inches mowing it, but if your grass is getting tall, get it knocked down because, again, the city ordinance says 8 inches, so. We do have 2 new cameras up at the brush pile, the tree dump. I will tell you that we have already issued a citation for illegal dumping of trash.
Good.
And if anybody has a temptation to do it, these cameras are very, very effective. And first offense is $750. So, it's a pretty serious issue with the illegal dumping. I will tell you that we've put several $1,000s into cleanup of people's garbage that they felt that they could leave behind at the tree dump, and that's necessitated the new cameras. But they are there and they work, day or night. So I'd encourage you to be careful with what you leave behind. The last one is, I will take just a minute and address Mr. Vaughn's concern about the airport manager. I apologize for not bringing it to you if you felt that was what should have been done. Yes, I was aware of it after the fact, but I would remind you that we did go through a time with some litigation over whether or not our role as a body here, city manager or city council, with in regards to the airport manager, starts to tread on that employment relationship beyond a contract relationship. And with that in mind, I left it to Mr. Walter to handle as opposed to bringing it to you. I apologize if you felt that should have been handled differently, but it was not a matter of refusing. And so if there's something that we can do better, I'd sure be happy to work on that with you. That's all I got.
Okay, my turn. The pool. I was at the thing too, and one of the rules does say that if you have high blood pressure or heart problems, you have to have your doctor's permission to go down the slide. Plus, when they showed me the height, I'm not a whole lot higher than that. I tried squatting down to show them I wasn't tall enough, but no, you will not be seeing me go down that slide anytime. You won't see me going down either one of those slides anytime soon, so. But thanks for the offer. And I just thought one of my duties as the mayor was to delegate, and I tried delegating it to several people, and they all turned me down, but, so anyhow. When it comes to the grass, as far as the mowing and such, if it's too tall, my biggest problem is we have an ordinance that you cannot put your grass in the streets. We put a lot of money, the taxpayers have paid a lot of money for storm sewers and stuff, and when people put grass in the street, eventually that all washes down into our storm sewers, which is not a good thing. I do think there is a fine for that too at times, but I see all the time people doing that, businesses and individuals, and I want to remind you that it's a big enough issue for me that I'm trying to see what we can do. I want to see if I can start making some citizens arrests or fine tickets or something, because it's ridiculous that we do that, to put that much money into our storm sewers and then not take care of them by throwing stuff down into them is not good, so.
Just hire your summer help and give them buckets and a shovel like Chris Anderson and I used to do it. Go down inside there and scoop it out.
Because you don't realize how much there is. When my new neighbors around the corner, I came home one night after a council meeting and he had mowed the yard and there's grass on my driveway and in my street in front of me and everything. And so I swept up around my house and had a lot of grass that would have gone down that storm sewer. So then I went over and met my new neighbor and introduced him and told him, and he had no idea what the ordinance was. He was new to town, apologized, has never done it since then, but I was even surprised as to how much that grass is. I mean, you think it's just a little bit along the edge from mowing, but it accumulates quite a bit if you sweep it all up. So we need to not do that, and people need to take respect for that also.
Let us know how that citizen arrest bit works.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to do that, because I want to stop every time I see that in the street and say,
Hey, we'll support you on it.
yeah, okay.
I saw that.
You got a friend named Fife that
You
used to
want
do that.
Give her one bullet.
Without the gun.
Yeah, I don't want the gun.
No stun gun.
I don't even want the bullet. Okay, moving onward. Since our director of the Chamber of Commerce is here, I do want to thank the Chamber for putting on our parade. We did have a fantastic parade. I thought it was long enough, but if it was shorter than before, I don't know. New people were doing it this year, hadn't done it much, and so they tried new things. Hopefully things will work out, but I'm sure they'll go back to the drawing board and see what things need to be done and things like that. But I thought it was good. I was totally surprised that we had a train come through town during our parade in the middle of it, and the reason I know that is because my son's Plug Nickel was playing, and their their trailer just cleared the tracks as the arm came down, and my son had to duck to keep from being thrown off the trailer onto the tracks. So I talked to my other son, who actually works for the company, and asked him, and we're going to see if next year we can figure out something of talking to the train people, the Canadian National, and either slow the train down or do some warnings, do something that we can do that as part of our train, because that was a little scary for me, but we'll see where that goes from that. But it was an excellent parade. The people were new, and so they did a fantastic job. Also want to let you know that the Chamber is hosting tomorrow night a forum about our branding at the library from 6:30 to 8. And so any of you that do have opinions, that was in the newspaper, the 4 choices. I know when I've told to people about the branding, their first response is they don't want to change what we've done before, but they need to understand the reasoning behind it and such. So I encourage you, if you have an opinion, to come to the library tomorrow night from 6:30 to 8 to share that and learn more about it. Also want to compliment the Buchanan County Fair Board. I was on the board years ago when there was a lot of financial problems. Our current Fair Board has done a fantastic job of making improvements. I was glad they were able to have the Christian concert. I wish it had been better attended. It was a very hot, humid day. I don't know if that got people not to go to it or whatever, but I think it was a great effort, and I hope it's the first year, it's always hard to start something new, so hopefully they will look at that and do something again next year. But the fair was fantastic, and then bringing in the 9/11 display and stuff, I've heard nothing but good things on that also, so I want to compliment them on that too. So I will now shut up and ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
You got it.
Motion for Denny, seconded by all the rest of you? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you. And thank you all citizens that came. We'll try and see if we can get the thing about the fireworks on the next meeting. If at all possible, we'll try and have it out there so you know as to when it is, so you can come back and have a dialogue at that point.
Yeah, that was pretty good.